Blessed are the dead, a place for you. Last Tuesday morning, my mother-in-law, Bertha Rice, slipped into eternity from the coma she had been in since suffering a stroke 5 months ago. She was 87. She had been my mother-in-law for 39 years, just 5 years fewer than I had my own mother on earth with me. Last night I watched Wheel of Fortune in Jeopardy and had an overwhelming desire to call her and say, "What about the girl winning $129,000 on Wheel of Fortune? How did you like Alex Trebek's new glasses?" She lived alone in West Van Leer, and I had got into the habit, after her health began to fail, of calling her just after those programs she watched every evening, so that I could be sure she was all right. Bertha's mother had died when she was just 18 months old, leaving her and her older brother, Bert Rivers, to be reared by a succession of grandmothers and aunts until her father remarried when she was 9. Despite her own sketchy mothering, Bertha became an exemplary wife and mother. She was unsparing of herself when it came to caring for her husband and 2 sons. She and her husband Alger kept a cow for 2 years longer than they would have, just so they could give my husband Harold a gallon of freshly churned buttermilk each week when he came to take them to church. One of the most important gifts she gave me I did not appreciate at first. As a new bride whose mother had a good opinion of me, I found that my nose was slightly out of joint when I found that my husband was even more perfect in his mother's eyes than he was in mine. And though she never said it overtly, I got the idea that no human woman was good enough in her eyes to be married to her son. I later came to realize that the sense of self-esteem she had instilled in him made my life much happier. She was not above making many suggestions as to what he should or shouldn't do, but basically she thought he was good. And he was. She reared both her sons with the same sense of self-worth. One might think telling a child he is good all the time would spoil him, but it makes him try to become the person his mother thinks he is. She never gave herself any credit for having such thoughtful, good sons. She just thanked God for giving her the best children in the world. Harold was never the least bit jealous of me. After all, who would want to be unfaithful to someone as wonderful as he thought he was? When a person is secure in his or her parents' unconditional love, he can trust implicitly the love of others. Bertha's 5 grandchildren have also lived up to the perfection she expected. As college graduates, they are personable, hardworking, and morally upright. They came from Princeton, New Jersey, Galveston, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Louisville, and Springfield, Kentucky, to attend her funeral. Almost every conversation I had with Bertha in her later years would include her saying, "I thank God for my wonderful family." I believe that sentence included her daughters-in-law also. She never criticized either of us to our husbands or any of the rest of the family. And she came to depend on me to do many of her business chores in her later years. She was a member of Liberty Baptist Church at Denver for 72 years. Not just a member, but a pillar. She was there when the doors were open as long as she was able to go. She taught Sunday school there for many years. Next to her Lord and her family, Bertha loved planting her garden and watching her vegetables and flowers grow. My daughter Patty was talking to her grandmother last spring. Bertha expressed a desire to go and be with her Lord, her husband, and her brother. Patty asked, "Grandmother, is there anything you really wanted to do in your life that you haven't done?" Bertha thought a while and said, "Well, I wasn't able to put my garden out last spring. Not many people's lives are that fulfilled." While Bertha was babysitting my children when they were little, she had them memorize the whole 14th chapter of John, the chapter that begins, "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go to prepare a place, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. I trust that there's a little plot of ground beside Bertha's mansion where she can plant some heavenly flowers and watch them bloom forever.